A lot of people have been hitting me up on social media asking me, what do I think about the end of the world coming this weekend? Apparently, there's this prophecy, a sign of Revelations. It's going to be happening on September 23rd. I don't really know much about it, but so many people were sending me videos. Some of these YouTube videos have like 7 million views. So I thought, you know what, people are freaking out about this prophecy. Let me go ahead and check into it, what's going on. Because let's not forget, we've had those really rare tetrads and blood moons and all of these things lining up with those Jewish holidays over the last couple of years. And so now people say, this sign, we've never seen anything like it before. This is really intense. So the sign in the heavens is something that's going to be appearing on September 23rd, and it purportedly relates to Revelation 12:1-2. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then, being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. So here is where astrology comes in, or astronomy, is something that's kind of shunned by a lot of Christians out there, even though the Bible literally says, look to the heavens for signs. The 3 wise men followed the star to find the baby Jesus, for instance. So it's littered all throughout the Bible with these signs in the heavens. And so we have to look to astrology and the stories that are related to the constellations in the sky. So on September 23rd, 2017, this sign forms in the heavens. It fits the requirements of Revelation 12. The woman in heaven is Virgo, the virgin. The sun is the sun that's clothing Virgo, and the moon is actually there under her feet, under this constellation. The garland of 12 stars are the 9 stars of Leo. There's also 3 wandering stars, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. They're now actually situated within Leo, so this makes it 12 stars. And then the last element of the sign of Revelation is that the virgin must be with child. So Jupiter, the planet Jupiter right now at this time, is in the womb of Virgo. And I guess some people, and I thought this was more of a pagan thing, but I guess some people think that the planet Jupiter represents the Messiah. So they are saying that the planet Jupiter is there in Virgo, in the womb. She's pregnant with the Messiah. And even though it seems as though this configuration has happened in the past, it's particularly profound right now because the planet Jupiter stays in the sign of Virgo for 9 months. Usually it'll only stay there for 1 month, or it'll move out pretty quickly. This particular time, it stays there in Virgo's womb 9 months before exiting sometime in November. Hence, the Virgin gives birth. So people who are really into Bible prophecy love looking at the signs in the skies as messages from God, and they use them as predictors for big events to come. And researchers who've been looking at this particular phenomenon say this is very rare, if it has ever been seen before in the sky at all. I came across some research from a guy named Mark Chiswell. He made this Excel spreadsheet of his findings. He went back to see just how rare is this phenomenon, the Revelation 12 of September 23rd. And he said it happens about every 7,000 years. There's actually a video that you can see of his up on YouTube. And his analysis, again, here's this beautiful mind type person. He began his search by looking at every year from the birth of Christ to 78 AD. He then realized he could just check every 12 years because that would coincide with Jupiter's orbital period. After which he realized that Jupiter is only in the womb of Virgo for 294 days every 83 years. And goes on and on and on to basically find out that this is an extremely rare phenomenon that only happens about every 7,000 years. So it has not been seen for quite some time. Now, predicting the end of the world is very risky business because it seems like someone's always making some prophecy that the end is nigh, and then of course it never happens. So a lot of this prediction with September 23rd originated from this Christian sky watcher, David Meade. And he says that he also talks a lot about Planet X, and he says people have taken his predictions way out of context. He said it's not the end of the world happening this weekend. It's just a sign in the heavens, which he says marks the beginning of 7 years of tribulation, and that actually the action is going to start in October. So, okay, go ahead, David Meade, walk your predictions back a little bit. But then he goes on to boldly say Planet X is going to block out the sun on October 5th. Now, come on, man. If Planet X was around, we'd be able to see it right now. Unless, of course, we are living in a science fiction universe and Nibiru, or the people, inhabitants of the planet, have somehow made their force field invisible, or maybe it's a spaceship that's going to just appear and block out the sun, or who knows, maybe Rocket Man's going to fire off one of his missiles. Who knows? But I think that's a pretty bold thing to say October 5th. But this is what the guy is saying. This is what a lot of people out there watching his videos, getting all freaked out about this prediction, are, I mean, I guess they believe what this guy has to say. So I don't know. He does go on to say that an asteroid, Wormwood, will probably hit the Earth sometime within that 7-year tribulation. And he goes on to warn that we're going to be suffering through catastrophic solar flares and nuclear wars. Which, frankly, that seems pretty easy to predict, considering all the bombastic rhetoric between Trump and Rocket Man and China and Russia and Iran. We're hearing about nuclear war practically every single day in the news. But we also are in a really strong solar flare cycle, and the Earth itself is traveling through a part of space that contains a lot of space debris. So we could potentially be hit by an asteroid. That's really not that far off. The universe is pretty amazing, and we barely understand just a fraction of it. But most of these people making these predictions are trying to sell books, so they want you to be fearful and get right with God. So that's kind of what we're seeing here, because there's always another prediction that's giving us a little bit more time before the end of the world. And David Meade's predictions about September 23rd have now been thwarted by some new intel. This intel is coming from mathematician and geophysicist Daniel Rothman. He's given humanity 82 more years to say goodbye. The year is 2100 to be exact, which is pretty convenient considering that most of us are already going to be long gone anyway.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.